Hey guys, this is Blackfish Dude, and today I will give you a tour of my lab, or my electronics bench. So starting with the right and working our way to the left, this is my measuring microscope. Somebody donated it to me. Very good. 3 objective lenses, 100 times, 40 times, and 10 times. It has a little dial on it that's very sensitive. Has above and below lighting. Pretty good. Pretty happy with that. This is my WD-40. 2-component adhesive, epoxy putty, acetone. We have a glue gun over here, indispensable. We have breadboards, a lot of them. And over here is my tool drawer. I have a bunch of wire, knives and brushes, glue gun refills, tape, soldering, lead and wire, and my big tool case, staple gun, torch, and hammer. Whoops, knocked over something. Here is the top of it. There's a thicker gauge wire, some other gauge wire, tape, and string. And this is my Smd Station plus soldering iron. This goes up to 480 degrees Celsius, air and solder. And this thing is replaceable. This has a replaceable heating element. It cost me $70. And I'll show you this in action. So I have power bars everywhere, so it can be easily controlled. So turn it on. It turns on. We can turn on this thing. You can see the SMD starts working. It rises, and we can turn on the soldering, which is set to 361. You can see how quickly it rises. So now this SMD station is blowing at 100 degrees, and we can turn it off because we're not going to use it. You can see how fast the temperature is rising for the soldering iron, which is pretty amazing. And right now it's hot enough to do that. Okay, we can turn it off now. And another part is my homemade fume extractor. This little box here houses all the controls, including a transformer, a bunch of regulators and stuff like that. This is a 3-phase fan, and this takes a 12-volt power supply coming in from here. It's a very good fan. As a bonus, this sucks, and also on the other side, it can blow cold air, which I can cool stuff with. As you can see here, I designed it to have legs, so it can have 2 functions. This is my pan device. It can hold circuit boards in place and all that cool stuff. I have spray bottles. This, the water one will spray down the sponge down here. The alcohol is used to clean off the table. Now we can move on to the equipment. Here is a function generator, and it can generate square wave, sine wave, triangle wave, and pretty much any frequency you'd ever want, plus DC offset, 30 decibels. You can control duty cycle, amplitudes, and this is also a sweep generator, so you can generate sweep with it. It's a very cool machine. Down here is my lab power supply. This power supply I actually just fixed around 20 minutes ago. This thing, the old switch was so old and rusty that it was really hard to put turn on and off. So I decided to replace it with a good switch. This goes up to 50 volts and 1.5 amperes. Has plus, negative, and ground. I don't know where that ground leads to. It's probably just a dummy because it's definitely not shorted with the ground on that plug. Turn this off. I will move to my components. I won't go into full detail of these. They're just resistors. They're sorted in the value of the 3rd stripe, which represents their value times. So it goes from gold and silver, which is 10 to the power of -1 and 2, all the way to blue, which is 10 to the power of 6. And if you do electronic engineering, if you don't, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't, just this in a nutshell, there's 4 color bands on a resistor. The first 2 tell you the first 2, the first digit and the second digit, And the third band tells you what to multiply that number by. And the fourth is tolerance, which is not very important, at least for amateurs. I've also got capacitors from below 50 picofarads to above 2,000 microfarads. And so you can see discs and stuff like this. And then I got the ICs, got an NE555 timers, pretty legit, inverter gates, counters, all that stuff, integrated circuits, other project ICs, 556 timers, op amps, all that stuff, large ICs which are collectibles because I have no use for them, IC sockets, and my absolute orientation and ultrasonic sensors are in here. And now to this cabinet, which is much more interesting. There's bulbs, glass diodes, Zener, Scotty, and normal plastic, which are sorted, inductors, cool things, fuses, male headers, female headers, lasers, single color LEDs, multicolor LEDs, infrared, LED display, motors, quartzes, other random stuff, piezos, photometers, include CCDs, potentiometer, rectifier, relay, soldering tips, bunch of screws, speakers, switches, transformers, bipolar transistors, field effect transistors, and MOSFETs, voltage regulators, and wire connectors. We also have a bunch of breadboards and perf boards, shrink tube, a bunch of them indispensable, cooling fins, sensors, component tester. This basically tests what a transistor is, resistance, chokes, induction, all that stuff. Very useful. It revolves around the 18 mega, which is a Arduino chip. Lithium polymer batteries, a bunch of plugs, empty drawer, and a bunch of red wire. These trays are very good. They hold like random screws for parts that I intend to take apart and put back together. Label printer, calculator, screw set, magnetic bowl, tweezers, flux things, and this is all the attachment for a rotary tool. And this brings us over to our Dremel. This Dremel is a Dremel 4000. Very useful for cutting perf boards, doing a bunch of random stuff. Okay, so this is something called a decade resistance box. It's very useful in prototyping. This can do any resistance between 1 and 999,999 ohms, which is pretty much all I'd ever need. A bunch of random clamps, full bridge rectifier, adjustable voltage regulator circuit, a bunch of random stuff, duster, homemade taser. Basically took a fly swatter and I beefed it up a lot. Even though it doesn't spark now, I wish it would soon. I'm gonna make some updates to that. And looking above on these things, I have wire connectors, zip ties, a bunch of random stuff, rulers, a subwoofer, a random speaker, a voltmeter, a micrometer. Looking above, these are all my tools that I ever use. Cutters, pliers, scissors, scraper, locking pliers, soldering tools, screwdriver, letter opener, another pair of sharper scissors, wire stripper, and hex nuts. Okay, so moving on to my additional table. This table is a bunch of junk stuff. I love desoldering things, so this is basically old electronics, a bunch of random stuff around here. This is a flyback transformer. This came from a CRT television. Random stuff, safety equipment, lasers, and magnetrons. Oh, I forgot to mention, down here I got a lot of random stuff, including all oscilloscopes and stuff like that. People donated some stuff to me, and right now sitting out of service. Helium neon. I mean, if I ever reach like a large amount of subscribers, maybe like 10,000 or like maybe even 100,000, but that's really far away, I might end up giving some of this stuff away. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I really have no use for this. And this is a pretty cool laser here. This is a 500 milliwatt laser, pretty powerful. What next? Oh yeah, there's a little gap in here because I'm planning to get. I ordered an oscilloscope off Amazon, and it's arriving on Wednesday, so 2 days from today, and I will post an unboxing video of that. Okay, so back to this part. I've got a magnetron. This thing was salvaged from an old microwave, an old timing system, a bunch of paper, a powerful relay circuit, a fan, random stuff, coils, welding mask, tape. This is basically a junk drawer for random stuff. More junk. Fan wire connectors. I have DNC connectors, audio jacks, all that probably I don't need. Empty boxes, housing lights, and also stuff in this box. A bunch of random stuff. Like I said, if I reach enough popularity, I might end up giving all this stuff away because I have almost no use for it. So just keep on doing what you're doing, guys. And that's pretty much all. I will do a bunch of projects on this desk, and so I just wanted you guys to see what this looks like. See you next time.